Martin Luther King Jr. Day comes around every year. We've had assembly after assembly, speech after speech. We celebrate the civil rights activist repetitiously, and yet we know little about him other than his very important and poignant I Have a Dream speech in 1963 that led directly to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But what are civil rights? Civil rights are human rights that protect all individuals' entitlement to participate in society without discrimination or repression. It includes racial discrimination, gender discrimination, the rights of women and LGBTQ, and discrimination against other social minorities as well as the poor. On April 4th, 1967, Dr. King gave his less known, but still important, Beyond Vietnam speech. Here, he spoke of how the Vietnam War took minorities and sent them 8,000 miles away to guarantee liberties in Southeast Asia, which they had not found in Southwest Georgia and East Harlem. He wanted to end the war outside the country and focus on the socioeconomic and racial inequities inside the country. That's why, later that year, Martin Luther King Jr. started the Poor People's Campaign. He said it was a highly significant event, the beginning of a new cooperation, understanding, and a determination by poor people of all colors and backgrounds to assert and win their right to a decent life and respect for their culture and dignity. In fact, many leaders of the Native American, Puerto Rican, Mexican American, white, and other communities were in support of this campaign.
In October of 1967, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke to a group of students at Barrett Junior High School in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. During his brief address, he asked the students simply, "What is in your life's blueprint?" Dr. King went on to explain that what you decide now may decide which way your life goes in the future. You see, in Dr. King's estimation, you're all in the process of building the structure of your lives. And as with any structure, a proper and solid, sound blueprint is required. First, Dr. King explained that you must believe in your self-worth and that your life has value. Now that means regardless of where you come from, your race or ethnicity, your gender, your socioeconomic status, or whether or not you have extraordinary abilities or disabilities, your life has value. Never forget that we are all gifted differently. Never forget that your self-worth does not depend on what anyone else thinks of you. Dr. King believed that you should never lose your self-respect by allowing someone to bring you down so low to make you hate them. In the areas where we differ, we must learn to always disagree respectfully, knowing that in many cases, that a lack of understanding can simply come from the inability to see from someone else's vantage point. I am reminded of a story that I learned as a boy. It's about two best friends. One is a small turtle and the other is a tall giraffe. Both the turtle and giraffe are standing next to each other in the tall, moist grass. The giraffe, with his long legs and long neck and held up high, said to the turtle, "Man, what a beautiful day. The sky is clear and the air is nice." And the turtle said, "Well, what are you talking about? It's cold and it's wet and there's mud everywhere." See, the point is that even when standing in the same place, your perceptions can be different depending upon your vantage point. That's what makes us all unique. Everyone has a different vantage point, depending on his or her experience, maturity, wisdom, their physical health, emotional and spiritual health, the complexity of the problem, and who's facing the problem. This story, I think, defines the importance of listening, communicating, and understanding a different point of view. So, Kalles, do your best to learn, understand, and try to imagine what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes.